Godzilla is a hipster.
Complete hipster. Poser wannabe.
He's always hanging around cool cities like New York and Tokyo, trying to get noticed.
And when he doesn't get noticed, he throws a total hissy fit. Starts stomping on buildings.
Godzilla is just not emotionally mature.
I mean, sure, King Kong went to New York, but he was kidnapped. He went there against his will.
Not to say he didn't have a good time, but he didn't need to go. He's got his own goddamn island.
And it's called Skull Island. You can't beat that.
King Kong comes from the jungles of Skull Island. He scares the crap out of villagers, beats dinosaurs up, and throws great parties. King Kong is street. He's totally street.
Godzilla comes from the Pacific Ocean where he sleeps underwater while tiny fish frolic in his mouth. He's about as street as Aquaman.
And who does King Kong fight on Skull Island? Tyrannosaurus Rex. The biggest, baddest dinosaur that ever lived. King Kong will fight a dozen T-Rexes and then eat them for lunch. Literally.
And who does Godzilla fight? Mothra. That's right, Godzilla fights a giant moth.
And why does he fight a giant moth?
Because Mothra ate some holes in Godzilla's silk pajamas. So now he fights a giant moth to a standstill because he can't wear his little PJs anymore.
Basically, Godzilla is a precious little cupcake.
They met once, and if you do the historical research, you'll see the real story is nothing like the Hollywood version.
The real fight took like a minute. Kong spent most of the time womanizing around the town. He even knocked up a midtown stripper that weekend. That's how Son of Kong started.
How did she give birth to the son of Kong?
It's best not to think about the mechanics of it. Imagine a pimple popping.
Oh.
Anyways, there are people who think that Kong would lose to Godzilla because he can breathe fire, but that's just another common historical misconception.
It started with a bad Japanese to English translation. The kanji characters for fire breathing are very similar to the characters for fart breathing. It's just the Japanese phrase for halitosis.
Yep, Godzilla just had bad breath due to all those teeny fish pooping in his mouth.
I don't think Godzilla's as tall as King Kong either. He's probably standing on phone books to make it look that way.
They would have to be really big phone books.
He probably uses the global yellow pages. They have all the numbers in the world in one big book. They make like 19 of them every year. Anyways, the real fight wasn't even a real fight. Godzilla saw King Kong, fainted from fear, and knocked himself unconscious when he fell off his giant phone books.
And then King Kong laid a giant deuce on his chest. And that was that.
That's why you don't see Godzilla anymore. He's way too humiliated to leave the ocean.
It feels good to set the record straight.
History is very important. More people should study it.
Oh, and remember that time that Superman fought Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, it was under a red sun where Superman doesn't have any superpowers, and Earth was forced by aliens to choose a champion to fight for the future of the planet.
I mean, without superpowers, Superman is basically a fast typist who can file things alphabetically, while Muhammad Ali can let George Foreman pate his innards for an hour. I mean, what kind of superpowers does a journalist have? They can drink whiskey at happy hour? That doesn't seem to me to be a...
King Kong never went ice skating. That's just a vicious, vicious lie.